Have you ever felt like you had two stomachs? One for savory foods and one for sweets, and that no matter how much you ate, you could never be full? Well, that's how my daughter felt for most of her life, except one was for regular meals and one was for fresh meat. It wasn't until she finally gave in to her cravings that she finally felt satisfied. Mai and I lived in Tano, a city in Japan known for its beautiful scenery, historical sites, and mysterious beings. We are natives, while my daughter's husband is an American social media influencer who moved to Japan. Even after my daughter got married, I stayed with her because of a very unique condition that kept her hidden even from her own husband. It's a family secret. Our family was cursed for ages. Every few generations, one female in the family became the FUTAKUCHI-ONNA and had an additional mouth on the back of her head. "Mother, I'm hungry again, but I'm worried I'll put on more weight," Mai said. Mai was staring at herself in the mirror, her long black hair obscuring her face. She took a deep breath and slowly lifted her hair, revealing the second mouth on the back of her head. The mouth was small, but its teeth were sharp and its lips plump, ready to devour food that came its way. She fed it a carrot, but it spit it out in disgust. Why did it have to be my daughter? I hated her condition, hated the way it made her feel like a monster ever since she was young. I would have to wear thick gloves when I brushed her hair, or else it would bite me. Mai had learned to keep it hidden, to suppress her insatiable hunger, which had gotten worse recently. When she was younger, she would just eat twice as much, but now all she craves is meat. Mai was trying to distract herself. She picked up her phone and started scrolling through Instagram. But as she looked through pictures, Mai couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. She saw images of meat dishes, succulent and juicy, and she longed to taste them. But she knew she couldn't, not with Henry around. Henry was her husband, a fitness influencer who was obsessed with maintaining a perfect, healthy lifestyle. He was constantly preaching the benefits of a plant-based diet and had pressured Mai into becoming a vegan too. But Mai struggled to maintain the diet. My daughter was raised consuming local meat and seafood, so having a controlling husband who only ate a plant-based diet was a struggle not only for her, but also for me since I couldn't cook and enjoy our favorite dishes. Mai sighed and put down her phone. I could tell she felt trapped in her marriage, trapped by her condition and Henry's controlling behavior. But she knew she had to keep her secret hidden. The pandemic had made everything worse. Mai was stuck in her apartment, unable to go out and distract herself from her hunger. Mai took a deep breath and tried to focus on something else. She opened her laptop and scrolled past Henry's latest post. A picture of him holding a vegan smoothie. Mai rolled her eyes and clicked away. She knew she couldn't keep living like this. She tried her best to keep up with Henry's lifestyle, but it was taking a toll on her both physically and mentally. She constantly felt weak and tired, and her second mouth's hunger for meat was growing stronger by the day. But Henry didn't care. He was convinced that his way of life was the only way, and he would criticize Mai for any slip-ups. He would call her names, make her feel guilty, and even refuse to eat with her if she didn't comply with his strict rules. But the abuse only got worse. Henry would make comments about Mai's weight, would restrict her meals, and would even withhold affection if he didn't get what he wanted. Mai felt like she was walking on eggshells, constantly trying to please him and avoid his wrath. As Henry continued to insult her, Mai felt her rage growing hotter and hotter. And then one day, Mai told me that from the back of her head came a sinister voice urging her to take action. Mai could feel the sharp teeth of her demonic second mouth gnashing in anticipation, urging her to unleash the fury that had been building inside of her for so long. "What does the voice say, Mai?" I asked my daughter.
"Kill him.
Mai shuddered with a mixture of fear and excitement.
He deserves it. Make him pay for everything he's done to you."
I gasped at what I heard. Mai cried and hid her face from me. My heart sank. Mai claimed she tried to block out the voice, to bury it deep inside her. But the more Henry spoke, the more insistent the voice became. It was as if her demonic second mouth had a mind of its own. Mai felt helpless. I suggested she leave her husband, but she immediately rejected that idea. The pandemic only made things worse. Henry was stuck at home with Mai, and he would take out his frustration on her. He would yell at her for small things and make her clean the apartment for hours on end, while keeping tabs on what she ate. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to confront my son-in-law for fear that I might be driven away from their house and could no longer help my daughter from the demon on the back of her head. Mai knew she had to find a way out. As her back mouth's hunger for meat grew more substantial, I helped Mai take small bites here and there, trying to satisfy her cravings without Henry noticing. Having a neighbor purchase and deliver meat to us while Henry was asleep. But it was only a matter of time before Henry found out. And when he did, he was furious. He called her a liar, a cheat, and a monster. He said he couldn't believe he had married someone like her, and that he didn't even want to look at her anymore. Mai confessed to me that she felt a surge of anger and desperation. She had to do something, anything, to escape Henry's abuse and control. The angrier he made her, the hungrier she got. The only thing that brought her any sense of relief was the thought of satisfying her hunger. Whenever Henry was filming a video in his studio, I let my daughter eat the meat that the neighbor dropped off. That was the only time I saw Mai calm down. However, it became a major issue when I ran out of money and couldn't get any more for her. Mai's back mouth was like a cruel demon, constantly tormenting her and pressuring her. It drove her to insanity. She was no longer in control of her thoughts or actions, as the demonic voice in her head had taken over. It was as if she was possessed, a vessel for the dark desires of her back mouth. She was constantly fighting with her husband, and they were now sleeping in separate beds, completely avoiding each other. She turned into a monster. Her second mouth only grew larger until it could no longer be hidden by her hair. At this point, I was terrified. I couldn't go near my daughter. Honestly, I was afraid for my life. One morning, my daughter's husband became irritated when he saw that the refrigerator was empty. The FUTAKUCHI-ONNA took over my daughter in the middle of the night and consumed all the food in the fridge. He was pacing back and forth in the kitchen, his face contorted in a mix of anger and frustration.
Where is it?
His voice echoing off the walls.
Who the hell ate all the food?
He started blaming my daughter, but I quickly came to her aid. I ate the food. I'm sorry. His fists clenched even tighter, and he let out a low guttural growl. He looked like he was about to explode with rage.
Get out of my house!
He shouted at me and punched the fridge. I was so shocked at his reaction and the disrespect. I went to my room to pack my belongings. As I was packing my things, I heard a commotion in the house. When I checked what it was, I saw my daughter arguing with her husband. She was enraged when she found out that her husband told her mother to get out of the house. My son-in-law was adamant and didn't give in to Mai's pleas that he reconsider. Mai was furious. I went back to my room to continue packing my things when I heard a commotion. I heard Henry scream in terror. I rushed to the kitchen and was shocked by what I saw. Henry's body was oozing out blood. The FUTAKUCHI-ONNA had completely taken control of my daughter. Her body contorted. Her skin became pale white with specks of crimson blood, and her raven black hair formed strands of thick hair-like tentacles that stretched out and fed her even larger mouth on the back of her head. One of Henry's arms dropped and rolled to the floor near me. I initially thought of running away and asking for help, but Mai is still my daughter. I also felt Henry deserved his terrible death. I picked up the arm and offered it to the FUTAKUCHI-ONNA, who got up and ran backwards to get her treat. She licked her lips and devoured his arm, smiling with satisfaction. I promised her that I would do my best to feed her whatever she wanted and thanked her. She saved my daughter from the abuse of her brutal husband and freed her.